Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Tangent. This is for April 25th, 2019, our 14th show.
14?
Man, we are coming down the pipeline, just heading straight for, 10 years of this already, feels like. We always have trouble getting everything up and running first, so we did get boom mics, though. We got actually something to keep the mics up closer, so the sound should be better.
Yeah, sound should be much better.
I'm hoping.
Today.
I'm hoping that's what we get out of this. So we're glad to see everybody here today, though. We've got a lot to discuss. As always, we got a little bit different layout. We got a longer table for racing cars, and I don't know what else we're planning for this. Maybe virtual shuffleboard.
Something like that.
What was that game we played at that bar where you throw them down? It's like shuffleboard.
Shuffleboard, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that would be... that might be the perfect thing for this table layout that we've got going on now. But they've given us more room. The show... I think our show is getting so big, the company's starting to give in to our demands and give us more space and, at least $20 microphone boom arms and things like that.
Skimped on the shock pads, though.
The shock pads a little bit. Yeah, no, we don't.
You gotta get to 20 shows to get shock pads?
But yeah, I think that's the achievement.
Okay, got it.
You do. But we do appreciate everybody coming in. Big news, number one thing I think is Days Gone launches tonight.
Yep.
Which we've all been looking forward to.
Yep.
It's an exciting game launch. I mean, Sony, I still don't feel there's a lot of information out there about what Days Gone is. I think that it's a lot of speculation of what it is, but
Sure.
Actual information, I don't believe that there's been a ton of information put out there about the gameplay, the mechanics, stuff like that.
And, as with some of the other games that we've played recently, I've intentionally not been going into some of these games trying to, be master of the universe or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't want to go in and find out any more than I need to on these games.
Right.
So I'm pretty happy with the way it's been. I'm just moving stuff around still.
And I make that comparison or that distinction because there's certain games where it's like, if I really care enough to be I gotta get, the gun the first day it's available, or the armor first day it's available, or first day in the raid, or whatever. That type of stuff, it's inevitable that we end up reading online to kind of tackle it.
Yeah,
but with this type of stuff, I don't really, it's a single player game, right? So not dissimilar from Sekiro, where I went in completely blind.
Yeah, I was happy about Sekiro. I mean, in that sense, there was no... I stayed 100% spoil-free, for as long as I could. And I mean, I really haven't heard much other than just us talking about it. He talks about some of the bosses, but that's not spoiling.
And even that, I've tried to be kind of high level about it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't until probably I made my way through... I got to a point where I felt I had done all the content I could find, and then I was like, okay, what bosses did I miss? Or type of thing.
Kind of go back through and find that out. Yep. No kidding. I really am looking forward to finishing it one day, but I will start playing Days Gone tonight. Well, tomorrow.
Yep.
You're starting tonight. It's already on your machine. We're going to see that here, funny enough. We do have a PlayStation in-house. Nothing's burned down yet, so PC gamers be aware that you can have both machines and not your house won't catch on fire. Yep. Although it is noisy. We can hear it here. I can hear it right now. My laptop's trying to compete with it, make it a little bit like a sound off. But yeah, we have 2 hours and 40 minutes if we switch over to Brooks's machine. So that's how long you've got until it's ready to play. So be aware. Be ready to go.
What I've been playing.
Yeah,
lately,
look at all those games he probably hasn't finished.
Let's see. I finished this and this. I haven't finished this. This is that's
an ongoing project.
Yeah. I'm at the end of this. I finished this. I finished this.
Look at all that.
I'm on the final boss here. I finished both campaigns here.
Oh, that's good. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Dreams. That's a cool thing. That launched last week.
A week ago.
Yeah. If anybody has a PS4 and they haven't checked that out, that's actually a pretty neat thing. Why do you have 2 Days Gone on there?
We were talking
Bonus
about this.
content.
I can't figure out, and if you take it a step further, there's actually 3 things they did with this, and I will never understand this.
Watch show and account information.
Yep. They even blocked you from installing the pre-order theme.
Oh, you're not on a server though, but I get you. You can't even use
but
that.
see how it's got the clock next to it there?
Weird.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, what we're going to be playing on there today is Evil Within 2.
Yep.
That's the big thing. But Brooks was kind enough to bring that in because we were talking about, like, we both played Evil Within 2, but you've actually beat it.
Yeah.
And you beat it on PS4. I have it on PC, but
Right.
I have never beat it yet. So we kind of wanted to get a little bit more into the campaign kind of thing, show off some of the weapons you can get,
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep.
So that was a good thing.
It's not, in my experience, there's very little difference between the PC and the console versions. Outside of the PC one, you can crank the settings up a little bit more.
Yeah, you're
right?
going to get a little bit more, but in general, I think, the overall experience is the same.
Oh, I flipped this on 4K HDR last night, and it looks plush.
Yeah, no. Anything, we were just talking about that before we went live. A lot of things, like, you're starting to now, like, point out the things that aren't in HDR,
Right.
having an HDR TV, than
Right.
you are talking about, like, what is coming in HDR and all that. Because every game should have HDR in it, even if it's not 4K.
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks phenomenal on 1080p.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely.
John, our buddy John, was even talking about that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
How it was a big difference between night and day on HDR. So
Yeah, like the 4K, like the sharpness is cool, but when you get those brights that like
really pop and they're
you
like
got to really,
blinding,
yeah,
for sure. That's a big thing. Beyond the release of that, we saw Mortal Kombat 11 release this week.
yep. Mm-hmm.
I picked it up. We did a stream on Tuesday.
We've got the game.
And yeah, we've got it on the service and everything, so you can pick it up from us. We've got it actually, as far as I'm aware, here's a secret. If you do our 14-day free trial of Wild, you can get it for $82.99. I mean, you get 14 days free of that. So all you have to do is pay for the $82.99.
And that's on the premium one, which normally costs $99.
Yes.
Okay.
With 99, so that's the steepest discount. I do think the standard edition is 49 with that discount.
Okay.
So 59 to 49, which is still, I'm thinking it's pretty cheap. We actually got it up. I was surprised how low we were able to get it.
Yeah.
So it was actually a good deal. And I played a little bit of it last night. I didn't really tell you that. So I pulled out the sticks. I got the Mortal Kombat Collector's Edition sticks.
Right.
Sat there and plugged it in. It worked like a charm on the PC, which I knew. That's the reason why I went with PC instead of PS4. I've got PS3. We played them in here before. I've got the PS3 sticks. They don't work with the PS4 for any game.
That's so odd.
It is odd.
That's so odd.
That's the only accessory I've seen do that. Because the steering wheel I have, same one your buddy Aaron has, or our buddy Aaron, that works on PS3, PS4, and PC. And I see a lot of things, flight sticks, all that stuff.
Sure.
That
Yeah.
arcade stick only works on PS3, and it'll work on PC.
That's
So
really
it is really
strange.
strange what stops that. I don't know why they would have not supported an accessory, but for whatever reason they did. Fine with me. I just bought it on PC. I knew that's what I wanted to get. And
How
we
far
got
did
it, and I was like, hey, I'm buying it at Wild Tangent.
How far did you play in the story mode?
I haven't played any of the story mode. What I was trying to do, outside of what we played here on the show, what I was trying to do was just grind through the towers.
Okay.
I got $7,000 to get, nick away at by the grinding. I figure in 20 years, I'll at least have something that, playable.
As far as I know,
It's not that bad.
As far as I know, they're putting out a patch in a day or two.
Yeah, it's kind of a ridiculous complaint in some cases. In some other cases, okay, I get it. Microtransactions, not everybody's favorite friend. In my mind, I'm still happy with what they put out because it's still a great game.
Well, the other thing there was a lot of misinformation because you can't even go buy combat coins even if you wanted to.
Exactly.
So
It's a lot of grind. There's 4 different currencies.
Yeah, and as far my understanding of it, after I've done enough reading, is you can't go and buy any of them, or like the consumable, the health items that you need.
Yeah, I want to say you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the concept went from we're locking stuff behind randomized boxes, which you then have to pay, which actually turned into you don't have to pay, you just need a tremendous amount of time.
Right. Yeah,
And-
it's a time suck, that's for sure.
And then NetherRealms had already gotten onto the front page of their website and said, hey, like, we're going to explain to you sort of how we got to here on
What
the
we were
towers.
thinking, yeah.
And it's like,
It's not as crazy as you think.
so they're going to scale it down a little bit, and I think we'll all be fine.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that. I mean, obviously, EA, they went in a completely opposite direction. They tore it all out when we saw them go through this on Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
Which probably they were getting a little bit of pressure because of, like, Disney being the owner of Star Wars. So,
I imagine.
don't screw this up. Let's all get along. Not that, again, not that we are sitting there going, like, you must have, it's the way to make money. I don't necessarily like microtransactions any more than anybody else, but given the fact that that's the way models are going and companies are doing that, I want them to get it right. That makes the best sense for them and the consumer,
right,
rather than being so heavy-handed in one direction for themselves, or potentially not making another one of the games because there are no microtransactions in it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it helped Dead Space 3, but
Sure.
We won't go down that road. EA's been beat up enough this week. Anthem, what are they doing over there? I don't know. They're jumping. They're jumping off a cliff, and
what they're doing is not following that roadmap. I guess the roadmap got delayed. There's a bunch of job postings on their site for like loot designers and systems designers and fun designers and don't piss people off designers.
Yeah, getting the fun designer would be probably pretty good.
Yeah, so that was a whole, they're not stopping the game,
yeah,
but they were already behind on that content roadmap. Then it's just been one.
Yeah, they've had it rough.
One step after the other, and it's funny enough when we were at lunch today.
BioWare, just blink twice when you need help. We'll send the brigades.
We were talking about it at lunch, and it's like the thing that sucks about it is rip the crappy systems off of it. Yeah. I actually think running around with your friends in the game is reasonably fun.
Sure.
Just shooting things, kind of fun. Running around town, not fun at all.
No, I think that was like the first thing. Yeah, everybody was.
The
running around town part. Well, in the spirit of carrying on with BioWare's excellent tradition in storytelling and interaction, it is in my mind, there's just nothing that I'm concerned about within the game to do that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Right? Whether it's the story or whatever it is in this one, it's not that it's bad, but it's in the wrong setting for what the game is supposed to be.
It just got in the way of us leaving the tower to go fly around
right, and
try
it took
to
a
have
lot
fun.
of time, and
right,
just take that little hub that you have that you unlock kind of at the beginning of the game and make that the spot where everybody's standing around. You just go walk around, talk to them, and get your stuff.
They are adding the feature where, remember how you would have to roll into town and go to that little machine to like look at your gear and your pieces?
Yep.
You can do that from anywhere now.
Yeah.
So at least there's that. That's something.
Yep.
I think
I like that.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they can turn it around and get something good out of it.
Yeah, it's if we were looking at the sales numbers, it's still the third best-selling game of this year.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're trailing behind FIFA and Division 2, you didn't do that bad.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
So,
I'd like to. What I'd really like to see is like data on players.
Yeah.
Right. How many people are still playing that bought it? That was always a Destiny thing. That was always, it's any games as a service. Mm-hmm. Borderlands, which is not even a games as a service game. I sat in a PAX dev event.
Yeah.
And they were, these aren't supposed to be talked about, but this was many, many years ago. And I wouldn't talk about PAX dev stuff right after it or name names, I guess. Point fingers. But, Borderlands kind of put up there, like, every time we launched a DLC for Borderlands 2,
more players.
We had more players at the time than when we first launched the game, which is pretty amazing.
I remember that, yeah.
So, I mean, and that's not even a games as a service thing. That's we curated it enough and took care of our player base to be able to attract them to join us on the next expansion of it.
Yeah, and it's, is it a games as a service? No.
Yeah.
But is it what I would consider to be one of the fathers of the looter shooter? Before there was games as a service, we had just like looter shooters, right? And then to me, the games as a service started adding daily stuff, weekly stuff, monthly stuff, right? And that's, I think, what we mean when we say it's not a games as a service, because you still play online, you still play with your friends, there's still activities to do, but it didn't have quite that online every day.
Correct.
You bought the game and you bought the DLC, and that was that.
And that was the end of it. Yep. No, I get that. Yeah, I hope to see them kind of straighten that and get it turned around and make it something we're all like sitting there championing for. You know what I mean?
And I think there will be a certain level of, at this point, they've put enough money into the tech and building it and making it work that I can't imagine the plan is to throw all that work
this
away.
Whole thing and
right?
Move on. Yeah.
So
I would agree. I would agree the same. Another big godfather of gaming, Tim Sweeney at Epic.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, what did he have to say?
He's coming back saying he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to make things exclusive.
Oh,
he's doing it for the games industry.
Got it.
And Valve is the problem now. And funny enough, like a week ago, he was saying that it's hurting our business. So, are we getting to a point where Epic's going to kind of go like, this is just not worth the? We made a good run at it. We had some good titles. But let's allow games on PC to be available to every distribution platform and make everybody happy, which is the way PC has always been.
Yeah.
It's not a console. It's not the console wars. PC has been the one place where you don't have to worry about getting an exclusive on one distribution platform or another.
Yeah, and it's, this is something that I think is lost on some people, that it's not like we're sitting here. If it were up to me, console exclusive games wouldn't exist. It's not up to me.
Sure.
And I happen to be a very big
You were
fan
on the right side of the console wars this time.
This time around, it hasn't always been that way.
Yeah.
But trying to recreate that experience, it's like, I don't have a problem that Nintendo built Mario from nothing and it gets to stay on Nintendo stuff. Yeah. And Sony, built what? Infamous as an example, and it stays on theirs. That's fine. Epic didn't build Division 2.
Yep.
So that's where I personally take issue with what they're doing.
I agree.
And if Epic wants to make Fortnite exclusive,
I was going to say,
or their next.
Guess what? Fortnite is not exclusive. It's available on everything.
I wonder
so
why.
Epic understands the value of putting a product out to all consumers and not. Who is the one that's complaining about Sony and the crossplay?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like, it's Epic going after them for the exclusivity of they don't want their consumers being... And it's not necessarily they don't want them playing together. There's complexities in there. Yeah, I'm sure there's revenue too. But
sure.
I'm sure that there's a little bit more. But even Epic admits that by their actions, it's better to have your game available on everything than just on one. So I kind of feel bad for the THQ Wireless, or not Wireless, geez, I'm going way
Nordic.
back. THQ Nordic, some of the indies, and, potentially, Borderlands 3 being exclusive to Epic. I kind of feel bad that, they're basically saying that's the wrong move to do with their own actions. So I don't know. It's not for us to decide on. We're just talking about it because it was in the gaming news this week. But, something to consider. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
We will continue to watch as the situation evolves, because I'm positive this is not the last thing anyone will say about this on Twitter.
Oh, I'm sure. But I do appreciate Tim Sweeney talking about VR at the Steam Dev Conference 2 years ago, in 2016. Well, 3 years now almost.
Was this when he was talking about the photorealistic?
In 10
headset?
years, we will be like living within VR, essentially, is
Yeah.
how he feels, which I agree. I mean, I think that he's a very smart guy. He knows what he's talking about, but his actions are something different than what he's actually doing today.
It'll be curious to watch Epic continue to make games and not make them exclusive to the store.
Yeah.
would be my expectation.
Or allow games to, get visibility on all stores, right?
Yeah.
I understand the rev share portion, but we're not arguing that he's wrong or right on that.
Yeah.
But the exclusivity component is what bothers me the most out of it.
Yeah.
Even as a distribution platform, let's just say that.
And
I mean, we're not sitting there advocating for exclusivity on WildTangent.
certainly not. No.
So.
And it's like it'll be curious towards the end of the year, and because it's like they've still got Remedy's Game Control, Epic exclusive,
Yep.
Borderlands 3, Epic exclusive.
Yep.
And it's just like, this is one thing that we've talked about that I think we're probably getting Borderlands on PlayStation, because I think we counted a dozen off the top of our heads that were interested.
Yeah.
So this type of stuff, it won't personally affect my playing experience, but like we have some buddies that like they like to play on PC, and it's like, well, I'll probably you guys have fun in September, and I'll see you in 6 months.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's what's unfortunate about it. So to my larger point of like, if it were up to me,
Yep, it would be made available. Yeah, we'll see.
It is not up to me though.
Nope. No, that's above our pay grade. And by the way, let's just say our companies, Gamigo, WildTangent, they don't, we don't speak for them when we're talking a lot on here. We're just talking about game industry news. So their ideals are different from our ideals.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
we try to separate that. But, it's very interesting. It's kind of, the industry's been a little wacky.
I'll tell you what was not interesting today.
I know. I have a feeling I know where you're going. What was not interesting?
There was a movie festival today. It was Tribeca Film Festival. Took place in New York today.
I'm not a huge movie fan.
I
play video games a lot, but I'm not a huge movie
this is something that we've talked about where you and I we don't watch a tremendous amount of movies.
Why would there be something not interesting at a movie festival for us?
Because there was a game there today. Well, correction.
Okay.
There wasn't a game there today. There were some people talking about a game that's being worked on today. And then instead of talking about the game, they showed selfies and pictures on the screen. So
they didn't talk about a game. And they showed family photos.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What was the purpose?
I don't know. I'm not
Good.
totally sure. So what
Glad
we're
we could clear that up.
So what we're talking about was today, after months of speculation on when the next Death Stranding trailer or piece of information was going to come out, Kojima and Norman Reedus and Jeff Keighley, all three of these guys have kind of been in cahoots in all of the Game Award shows where they constantly tease out information about this game. So everybody was like, today's the day. They're going to talk about the game. We're going to see gameplay. We're going to see a trailer. We're going to get information. I heard it on Twitter. I heard it on Reddit. And
Selfies.
People heard wrong. So.
And we're not even going to say the name of the game because they can't even say the name of the game. Right? They can't even come out and tell us any actual information or show anything interesting.
Yeah, so
which is horrible.
At the end of
but
it,
you know which game we're talking about. Kojima.
Yeah.
Keighley. I don't even know why he's involved. I guess because he runs kind of the visual, like, we are the Emmys of the gaming industry or something like that. Maybe that's why he's involved.
Yeah, I mean, him and Kojima have been tight for many years now at this point, dating way back to the Metal Gear 5 stuff.
Sure.
And that whole award show and that whole thing. So it was I personally had absolutely no expectations that Sony was going to decide on the day that they're launching Days Gone, an exclusive game, that they were going to roll into a movie festival and show off a gameplay trailer for a game to a bunch of people that watch movies.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense to me that this was... I don't understand where... No, I get where people thought they were coming with, but this is one of the things we frequently talk about on this show, where like... And it even happens when like games are being made, that a game will be shown off and then the internet will be like... They'll make up in their head, like, this is how it plays, this is what it's like, and then when it doesn't, they're like pitchforks.
Right. Bring the forks, bring the torches, burn it to the ground.
And, so...
Nobody should have made the damn game in the beginning. That's the attitude.
Yeah, and what I will say is that I do think there's a certain level of the internet is running with this game at a comedic level.
Yep.
But I also think, and I'm very much looking forward to this. At this point, I don't really care when it comes out or what form it comes out in. I will probably play it anyways.
Oh, of course.
But I'm starting to think maybe we talked about this game a little early because people were legitimately disappointed today.
I think you're right. I mean, and we'll say it now. I mean, Death Stranding, when it was announced, it was early on. I mean, it was advantageous, right?
Yeah.
Sony was like banging the war drum and like, we've got so many good things that are exclusive. And guess what? We know Konami just let this guy go, and we saw he couldn't, get a job. And his studio offices probably needed a little bit more computer equipment. So we've worked with Kojima, and he's doing this thing. And that was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah, was that 3 or 4? Yeah, it might have been 4 at this point.
That's a long time to keep people's interest. Like, even and a lot of big companies are probably guilty or practice this, whatever you want to consider. I mean, Bethesda's showing off like Elder Scrolls 6 a year ago, that's a long time off that it'll probably actually be here, right?
If you just got done telling us that the game is coming after Starfield, the game that's coming after Fallout 76, which at the time, during that announcement, was not even out.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, you're looking at like, this is a practice. That is a franchise practice. Now, I know the franchise here is Hideo Kojima, not Death Stranding, right? Like, that's what they're touting. Like, we've got him, he's doing this. And, hey, he deserves that kind of respect and, like, industry, like, awareness, like, of his name. But did they start a little too early for an unknown IP that people were like, what is this? And then they showed this movie trailer, and everybody was like, "This is really strange." And this is kind of along the lines of like a Killzone 2 introduction at E3.
You made a good point about that.
And 4 years later, we'll finally get the game that matches up with what they showed off in CG. I don't know. I think it was started a little too early. Like, if you would have said like last year that a Kojima game was coming out potentially this year, everybody would have still been hyped. Right. People would have been like, "Yeah, I'm taking 4 of them. I'm getting it on PC, PS4, and my Nintendo Switch, because God knows it'll make it there."
So it's not the first time that he has been extremely misleading about a game, right?
Sure.
He showed off Metal Gear 2 for years, and then you pop the game in and you don't even play as Snake, right?
Sure. And it was still like, and we even changed out the voice actor, David Hayter. Get him out of here.
And then he did something.
Bring Kiefer Sutherland.
And then he did something not similar to this, but the rollout of Metal Gear 5, which had the rollout of Phantom Pain before it, also did one of these, like, he had the dude with the tape around his face, and there was the fake studio, the Moby Dick thing, and it's like, I feel like this is that concept of like mess with your audience dialed up like one or two degrees above necessary.
Take that up a notch.
So I'm okay. Don't go to the subreddit. They are not okay today.
No, I'm sure Reddit has sharpened the pitchforks long before Tribeca was even ready to go.
I can't say I understand why anybody would have thought that on the day that one of their, we'll call it, big exclusives.
Sure, this was something they've announced 2 years ago.
Yeah, and on the day that Days Gone came out, I don't know who legitimately thought we were going to be like, okay, forget that marketing plan, we're going to do this other plan.
Yeah, we have this idea.
Right. So that's what I can't 100% fault them for the internet running with this, again, but it's also kind of self-inflicted because they're the ones that have started this borderline. Still don't know what the game is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Kojima made Snatcher for the Sega CD.
Yep.
He deserves all the credit in the world, and he should be celebrated, but not on the Time 100. The Times 100 most influential people of the year. We really need to go for an industry influencer veteran that's turned gaming over on its heels.
Who wrote his piece for the Time 100?
This was Juju Smith Schuster.
Okay. Who, correct
Is
me
a
if I'm
wide
wrong,
receiver.
plays football.
Plays football. Is a wide receiver for Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, got it.
22 years old. Fine man.
Okay.
Playing football. Making lots of money. Got to write the Time 100, one of the most influential people within the Time 100 for this year. And he chose Ninja. A Fortnite player. I know you don't know who he is.
I've never heard of it.
That played games with Drake one day, the singer, and is now like basically bigger than Kojima and Miyamoto and Yu Suzuki all combined. He's built the games industry is being carried on this man's back. I don't know how he handles it.
What would they do without him?
I don't know.
I'm going to tell you a little secret. I haven't taken the Time 100 seriously for many years at this point.
I can see it's one of those things where you just really can't know if it's serious or not. But
What? Okay, so maybe you can help me understand. Why was a wide receiver writing about a slightly above average gamer?
I'm pretty sure that the Time 100 has been around quite some time
Okay.
because Time's in their name.
Okay.
And they probably looked and said, we really need to reach the young people.
Okay.
And what better way than games? What better way than a young man who plays games? Talking about another young man who plays games.
Okay.
And they're both masters in their
Okay.
craft, right? I'm
Okay.
not. Esports is a legitimate thing. We're not doubting that.
Sure.
Sports is a legitimate thing. We're not doubting that. It takes skill to get into one. It takes luck to get into the other.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right? Juju Smith has skill, and Ninja has a great timing
Yeah.
component to his life, which I'm sure he has skill playing the game Fortnite. I didn't know of him more than a year ago. That's how fast it was. He went from being a Twitch streamer to carrying the industry, a $17 billion industry on his back in 1 year.
What do we do without him?
Seems a little odd.
What do we do without him?
Yeah.
Yeah, because what was it? I'm not as... I don't follow the streaming gaming personality community
Sure.
all that much. So I see stuff in passing, but it's like the other day it was like tune in for Ninja's 100,000th kill, and I'm like, this must be different than the previous 999,099. Right. So I'm trying to. It's a hard thing for me to grasp on.
It's micro. I don't know what it is. It's micro success, not his success. His success is real. I mean, he makes money at this.
Oh, sure,
He does
yeah.
that. But it's micro celebration of small things that, right? Really, if I played Fortnite, and I'm going to say that, if I played Fortnite 8 to 12 hours a day,
Sure.
and I was anywhere decent as him, I would probably get 100,000 kills too, right? Like, it's not about making fun of his job. That's not what we're making fun of. Because his job is legitimate. Streamers are streamers. People make money. Influencers are influencers. It's just the Time 100 article being about him and how influential he is. Because if you read the article, you know, the Juju Smith Juju Smith Schuster. We'll say he deserves to have his name explained correctly and spelled correctly or announced correctly. He says, he's been a huge video game fan his whole life, and Ninja has actually brought credibility to video gaming and esports.
Because before that,
there was no credibility in
zero
a $17
credibility.
billion industry.
Got it. Okay. I'm just making sure I was following the logic there.
It just really, and he's an absolute legend, is what he writes. And we owe him a lot for making gaming what it is today. That's the quote. I'm going to say you're wrong. I'm going to say it's a very interesting take on it, but it is wrong. And I'm sure that we're not the only ones saying it. I'm sure like lots of people are saying it that actually have say in this, and kind of it's what gaming is today is no different than what it was before him. It's an industry that's been accelerating at a massive speed and growth, and is enjoyed by billions of people on the planet.
Right.
And has been around since well before video games. People have been playing games, right? But in video game world, people that started playing games in the 70s, when it became popular to own like Pong and things like that,
right,
are now like in their 50s, right, and have seen like gaming's growth over the years. And I would almost argue that Twitch has been a major factor in gaming growth over the past 5 years, not an individual streamer.
You could probably have written that article and put in a picture of the purple and white Twitch icon.
Yes.
And that article would have read very similarly.
Yes.
I think that's a very fair point.
And I think that maybe that's where he was going with it, but he decided to name somebody to that. And that's where it kind of fell out, and they went, oh, it's actually the guy Ninja, because we saw him on the Video Game Awards, and he's played with, like, Drake and all that stuff. I think Twitch probably should get the award if it was an actual thing for a company to get an individual contributor kind of thing than this. Because, yes, you could have wrote the article, and it would have been Twitch-enabled this type of impact on everyday life, because they were able to bring Drake and that into their fold. They're able to bring esports live to people. They were a leader in that. You know what I mean? That's where I kind of feel they were going with the article, or he was trying to get to. But because he was like, we may need to name somebody, maybe they just, like Ninja's the number one person, obviously.
Sure.
So we've talked about this a lot, and we've talked way too long. I think we should probably get into some games.
Yeah, sure, that sounds good.
That's our take. This week.
All this, it's an ever-evolving thing.
Yeah.
We ran with the news a little bit later tonight. But
yeah, no, it's fun. It's nice to sit here and talk and kind of walk through some stuff. But I think we are going to talk about some games. We're finishing up the Bethesda component of our month. Basically, we did a celebration of getting Bethesda games onto our platform.
Yep.
And we did, the first week was Wolfenstein, second week was Fallout, third week was the Elder Scrolls series. Mm-hmm. Now we're kind of covering all the other games, and none of these games are basically like we've saved the best or the worst for last. None of that. We're just basically saying these are franchises that Bethesda has, and we need to kind of talk about them because they represent a lot of their stable, right? Doom could probably be its own week that we spent on it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, but like one thing it was tough. We talked about it. How do you do Evil within a week? There's only 2 games. How do you do a Dishonored week?
Yeah.
There's only 2 games.
Yeah, Doom you might be able to get away with because there's 4 games, essentially.
Sure.
But in the general sense, a lot of people play Doom. A lot of people know Doom. We picked 2 things that might be interesting out of this to kind of talk about and showcase in the show. But we really don't have time to go through everything and give it proper credence,
right?
Credit of what it's done for gaming and Bethesda. Maybe we'll start doing. What we probably should start doing is writing for the Time 100.
Probably.
We'll be able to just pick one thing that represents the whole. But let's talk about Doom BFG. I think this was, there is a new Doom. We do have it. Doom BFG, though, I think is a cool game to discuss because in Doom BFG you get Doom 1, Doom 2, and Doom 3, and it'll support up to 4K TVs.
Okay.
Obviously, Doom and Doom 2 are not really like 4K visuals, but they don't have a problem playing on a new PC with 4K TV. They work just fine. I didn't show them here because I just thought, you know what, let's jump into actually showing a little bit of Doom 3, which Doom 3, when they put out Doom BFG Edition, got some upgrades.
Okay.
It got some upgrades, not major upgrades. There were some probably tightening of the textures and things like that. But the one upgrade is you can carry your weapon and your flashlight at the same time.
I remember playing this launch week on PC when it came out.
Yeah.
And we had picked up the game and then promptly figured out that our home machines couldn't run it.
Yep.
So we went down, there was a LAN center that we all kind of gathered at, and they had some nice machines there, and we played it there.
What do you have to do? Take your physical disc with you and put it in the machine and install the drivers and all that? Be thankful that's gone.
Yeah.
Getting games to run with different graphics cards and all that was such a nightmare a long time ago. I could see why nobody really wanted to play on PC. and that
People these
consoles
days
became
don't
everything.
realize how bad it really was.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
So,
But now, I mean, look at this game. This game looks really good. I actually recorded this. I want to say I recorded it at 120 frames per second in a 4K resolution, 3860 by what is the other resolution?
Welcome to Mars, Marine.
80, 2140.
I'm gonna need you to
No,
step on
3840
one of
by
those red
2160.
squares on the floor
That's
for a
what it
BIOS scan.
And that's what I recorded the game in, and it looked
Okay,
phenomenal.
let me get this started.
It's older, right? Obviously, it looks more like Half-Life,
You're gonna need
Half-Life
to hold
2
still.
than it does
Moving
like
around only
Doom.
makes the test take longer.
But ran great, looked great,
All right,
played
BIOS
great.
scan looks good.
It was really fun to sit there and play. And you got Doom 1 and 2 with it, which played great on the same machine and the same TV. So
you know, it's interesting.
I'm not.
At the time when it came out, there was a little bit of backlash because the game looked good, assuming you had a machine that could run it. But there wasn't a lot of people, and Carmack even said, he's like, "Look, this game is like, it's meant to look good in 5 years, right?"
Yep.
So it's like it was kind of and
Okay.
it's not the first time Carmack had done this. He did something similar with Rage.
Yeah,
where,
Rage
like,
is done. You know, use new tech.
It was building games in a way that was really pushing up against the tech.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Don't lose it.
For sure, they
See here that
they were doing a lot,
has
and I
requested
think
your
you know
immediate
this was obviously
Head
Rage
directly
and
to
Doom
Marine
3
Command.
were before Bethesda acquired them.
Follow this.
You sweet time, Marine.
So you know they were
Here's the situation.
they were making
Other
their
member of the science team.
franchises look, or their,
You're the
their,
ranking
their titles
FMG,
franchises.
you get to
were-
find him.
They making
Want you
them
to check
look
out the
phenomenal at the
decommissioned
time.
comm facility.
You know,
There's
continue
like
to be
getting
something
there.
you would want
The
to
only
play
way is
years
through the
into
service
it.
passage
Right.
under Mars.
And you know they took the advantage
Programmed
and
this
you know
century
made
to
a
guide you to
the
the maintenance
BFG
elevator.
edition,
Hope you follow the
and
century better
you know
than
really
follow
packed it in
orders.
with everything they could and made some little updates
Security checkpoint at the
and things
bottom of the
better,
elevator.
and you got a great result. So
When you find him, just bring
I
him
think
back.
we'll throw the
Not
link in
hurt.
chat.
Move out.
I think we're doing it for $8.99. Does that sound right? I want to say. Let me look really quick here. We have it going up, but it's already on the service. So the Doom BFG edition is
No, please.
19.
You must let me get this communication out.
19.99.
They have to be
So
warned
I was
about
thinking
escape
9.99. I
eyes.
think that's
I
Doom
can't
3
let-
because we have Doom 3 on its
I don't know
own,
what I've seen.
and then we have Doom
You can't
BFG
possibly
edition
understand or
for
comprehend.
19.99. So it's the standard price, but phenomenal game. Comes with 2 classic games along with Doom 3 and all the expansion DLC, which is Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil and the Lost Missions.
okay.
So it's like the full package. We'll throw that link in chat. Let's do that quickly. I did put in some combat, so here's kind of like where you reach the first real combat stage. basically watching the evil come out. I don't know. Like they were talking about it. You start to hear like the audio PDA. Funny enough, there was not public display of affection, but personal data assistant. They were using PDAs to play the audio files. It's a kind of funny thing, like using your Palm Trio or something like that to walk around Mars with. But you know, they talk a little bit about, well, things have been happening, some weird things are going on, and this scientist that we just saw die, he actually knew what was up. He knew that there was evil coming. He was trying to, I think, destroy the base. Basically, make everybody aware and all that stuff, and destroy a part of the base. And you wouldn't let that happen. Evil broke out. Now, you're the Marine, kind of like getting away from the whole thing, or fighting the whole thing. It's kind of the section. It's done well. It's got dark. I didn't turn the flashlight on this part because you kind of like just trying to get away, but you can see enough to shoot things. But you can have the flashlight and the gun out at the same time. The original Doom 3, you could not.
See, I played the whole game where you had to swap the entire game.
That's how it used to be. But looks great. Weapon looks great. Phenomenal game. And they did it right. Let's jump into another Doom game. One that I thought we would talk about. We do have Doom.
A little different.
Yeah, a little bit different. We have Doom VFR. So the virtual reality game. And it's an interesting take on how to play Doom.
Yep.
You become essentially, without doing too many spoilers, you become a robot. And as a robot, your conscience is still there. You remember what's going on, and you're like, I've got to go fight evil as a robot.
Okay.
And that's where it starts. And it does give you kind of like the idea of like, here's how to get into it, and you know, this is really right at the beginning. You get kind of the first shock in VR, and it kind of is a funny one. You're looking around. I played this on the PS4 because I actually don't own it on the PC, but we do have the PC version, so I may end up picking that up.
I remember playing this on launch day.
Yeah.
When it came out.
Yeah, that's pretty shocking when you're looking in VR. You're like, what is that coming at me? Yep. And now you're kind of able to start the game, and then it leads you through the tutorial and everything, which is what we're going to see here. But you notice that you're not human. You're kind of this floating entity. Basically, you stole Cortana's body effects, and now you're this AI. Well, not AI. I guess you are an AI that's now jumping over to a robot to be able to do your bidding.
So were you playing this with mousing or wands or
with wands.
Controller?
With wands.
You were playing with the wands.
I played with the wands because that's the way you play with like a Vive headset.
So you were not playing with the aim controller?
No, I did not play with aim. Aim is supported on the PS4 for this, and it's kind of a better way to play it.
Okay.
I think it's actually a pretty good. The aim controller is pretty awesome. I wish they would make it to where it's compatible with PC. That would be awesome.
It's a really nice peripheral.
Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, it is a really nice peripheral. There is a way to play with something similar on Vive. You have to buy those adapters where it becomes like a 3D kind of object, and then you kind of set it up. It's really odd. It's really odd.
Okay.
It's sold by HTC. Nobody really buys them, as far as I know.
So
but
nobody
they can make
really
like
implements them.
Yeah, they can make any device that works like with a PC appear as a device you can use. Not how do you say that? Not in a way that it integrates. It's a weird thing.
Okay.
It makes the device 3D in a VR environment.
Interesting.
But it doesn't show the device. It just, when you pick it up, you can sense what you're grabbing. and they have to be specifically programmed in for that.
Okay.
Baltimore, what's up, man? Welcome, dude. We were just having a chit chat, talking about more Bethesda games this week. So, as we go further into this, I was trying to figure out, did I have locomotion and all that kind of stuff set up? A lot of the game, you can do different settings like you could do anything else. You can have the teleport where you just point to something and jump to that location. You can have it to where your locomotion, you're moving forward. Your options for weapons are kind of the same, but it does go through and teach you how to use like grenades,
Right.
guns. You do get multiple guns. You know, you get the BFG gun and all that stuff as you play through the game.
So just for clarity, this is not the new Doom with VR tacked
No.
on. This is an independent story. It's not Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 3, the new Doom. It is its own standalone game.
Yes, it is its own standalone game. It's not like the Elder Scrolls. It's not like
Resident Evil 7.
Resident Evil 7
Right.
or Fallout VR.
Right.
Right? It's not taking the exact same experience you played through and then putting a VR experience around it. Yeah, we got it. We did get MK11. No, that was awesome, man. We were happy to have Mortal Kombat 11 launch right away. We also played it on Tuesday, so it was really fun. You should check that video out. I like it. I like it better with my my Mortal Kombat like fighting stick. Right, that's a much better experience.
Yeah, I would much rather play on stick than controller. You know, one of the things that you'd cued me in on, not to sidetrack from this game too quick, is the story is ridiculous
Yep.
in the game now. With like, I remember the first few games, and then that's kind of when I sort of stopped playing them, and later found I mean, there's time travel stuff. People are coming back from the dead.
Yep.
We're going from Hollywood to the military, back to Hollywood. It's bananas.
Yeah,
It's
it
bananas.
is. There's a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah, it looks really good though.
And did you know that yesterday? Well, I don't think it was technically meant to be the same day because from what I heard, and this was, I don't know if anybody checks out. People check him out. Trust me, because he's got like 4.5 million followers on YouTube or subscribers. With Boogie2988. Do you know this guy?
Nope.
He was kind enough to stop in one of my channels
Okay.
on Twitch when I was streaming, and he brought like about 1,500 friends with him when I was streaming one night. It was kind of funny, and the guy was very nice, so I started following him. Yeah, I thought, Baltimore, I know you checked out Boogie. I know you follow him because you've I think retweeted stuff of his. That's how I knew that you followed him. So this guy's, pretty decent dude, has, had challenges in life and all this stuff, but he's really a good entertainer for YouTube. And he's been talking about one-up arcades. Have you seen those? Those 3/4 size like arcade machines that you can have in your house?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been talking about that, and they've been very cool about sending him ones to showcase on the channel and all that.
Okay.
Yesterday he just got the Mortal Kombat one, which is funny because it's now, I guess, available at Walmart's. So kind of like either one-up timed it with the launch that Warner Brothers was going to do on Mortal Kombat 11, or just by happenstance it like went out about the same day that it was available. But he was talking about Mortal Kombat, and the Mortal Kombat like 3/4 sized cabinet. It actually has Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
And you can't find Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 on Steam any longer.
You can't.
You can't. I don't know what's going on with that. If they decided to let's pull it off of Steam and let's sell these cabinets, or let's do a deal where I don't know. But I could have swore it was available on Steam for a long time. Now it also could be that Steam doesn't officially support games that are on Windows 98 or Windows Vista and Windows. What am I thinking of? 2003 or 5 or whatever was before Windows Vista, Windows 98.
Yeah, what a weird. I wonder why they did that. That's a really.
Well, Baltimore says because he thinks they removed it because of the DRM, which could be true. It could be something to do with like Windows. I would hope that they didn't have Windows Game for Windows Live on there, but yeah, that's become a problem.
Wouldn't be the first, right?
But he said they're already having issues with those cabinets as well. But they are pretty cool. Oh, I don't think you're saying they've had issues with the Mortal Kombat one. You're talking about like the Centipede, Millipede, like controller issues and stuff like that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so they make a ton of these. I think they make maybe 9 or 10 of these different cabinets, these one-up cabinets.
Right.
And they all have different classic games and things like that on. But I do know there was like a Centipede, Millipede like issue on them where like the ball doesn't roll easily or like mimic, because these machines try to mimic the original cabinets pretty well for something you can put together.
These aren't a few bucks. These machines run a couple $100.
These are like $300-$400, and they try to do a good job with it, right? And make
Right.
it like a really good machine. And they have been. I have watched like Boogie and some other ones talk about like, hey, they've been pretty good about like fixing the problems. So it's not like they're letting people up high and dry, but you can build this thing in a couple hours and have it like in your house, and it's something you would sit at, but then you can buy these risers and
Right.
You can
Right.
play a little bit higher. But it was kind of funny that Mortal Kombat, their cabinet came out right on about the same day Mortal Kombat 11 did. The biggest time you would want to have like excitement. They had to like work it together.
Can't have been an accident.
Yeah.
Right.
I think somebody over there was like, we've shipped them out to Walmart. Let's get these things going.
Okay. Interestingly enough, if you go to Green Man Gaming and you buy Mortal Kombat Complete Bundle from
Yep.
them, you do in fact get 1, 2, and 3.
For Steam.
Yeah.
Interesting. I might
Yeah.
have to go over there and buy that.
But it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if it's one of those things where
Steam just stopped selling.
it's dormant.
It's
on
dormant.
there. But if you've got the key, you can activate.
I might try that. Good call. I'm going over there and checking that out. Also, early Mortal Kombat games were made by Midway. That's what Baltimore's saying.
Yep.
And they had something to do with it as well. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Probably lost the license or something after it was transferred over to Warner.
When we had talked to, when we were doing 10, we had dug through the weeds of what had happened in Midway and how
Yep.
Boone was at Midway and then had still followed along over to Netherland.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So even though the license has changed hands, the creative team behind it, as far as they know, is still roughly been there. It's still been an Ed Boon thing from the start.
Yeah.
I think he's been involved.
Oh, no,
in
he's
every
been
one.
involved in all of it, as far as
So-
I'm aware.
And then Mortal Kombat was so successful, they were like, Injustice, you want to do it again?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Let's jump over here. But yeah, that's our diversion from talking about Doom VFR. I don't know where we got onto that. One more thing we probably should talk about that is VR, and this is again another diversion, but it is VR, is tomorrow, or today, if you own a Switch and you own the Labo VR setup, and you own like Zelda, Breath of the Wild, or Mario Odyssey, you can play it somehow on the VR device that you get with the Labo.
Did you see the link I sent you this morning? It was like
Oh,
at
the
crack of dawn,
little head strap thing.
where
Yeah.
somebody finally made a strap for it. Yeah.
We're gonna jump out of here, but this is the VR for that. We've got this game. I will put that link in chat if anybody's interested in it. I had fun playing this. I have fun playing any VR games. I'm a super big fan of them, so I hope that everybody gets a chance to experience it. But we've got other games to talk about. It is fun, Baltimore. It is. I mean, I enjoy it. I think VR is. It may seem really early on, but for Sony and for PC in general, and even for Switch, there's a huge opportunity to make it an amazing new world of like gaming entertainment.
One last thought on this, and then we can move on. I don't think it is said enough that in the past, when peripherals come out, and whether it's a keyboard for your GameCube,
Yep.
or motion controls, or a camera, or something to play golf with, or whatever, getting, collectively between PlayStation and Oculus and Vive, to sell 10 million VR headsets. This is not a like a $50 thing. This is
No.
you got a legitimate group of people buying into a piece of tech
Oh yeah.
pretty early, and I don't think because people hearing it's like 5 million headsets rival to 100 million consoles might not sound like that much, but in perspective of like it's like buying
There have been
another-
consoles that have made a good career on 5 to 10 million users.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's all remember that. Like, and that was just the console. You know, this is where people are out there spending extra money to put it on their console. And I mean, you've tried it, Baltimore. Do you have one, Baltimore? I'm not sure. You said you tried Star Trek Bridge Crew, and that was pretty cool. I didn't know if you had a VR headset or not, but you don't own one, but you've played around with them. That's cool. And that's another thing. Like, how many people have actually went out and played around with it? A lot of people have played VR. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have. They may not own one,
Right.
but they've definitely had the opportunity or chance to play them, which is cool. And that's a good thing to kind of move forward on in terms of the industry. I mean, people are accepting it. It's just now make it a quality, make it a part of the console from launch, which I think the PS5, which we talked about last
Right.
week, you know, there's a good chance that it may not come with it, but it will be available day one and people can start buying into it, and you'll be able to use the existing headsets. So I think Sony's going to have a good run at this.
I have every expectation that there will be some super premium. You get a PlayStation, the headset, 2 controls in a game for.
Yep.
And
Oh yeah, I'm self-plug here on my YouTube channel. I'm doing a video right now that I held off. I was going to launch it on Wednesday, but I held off until next Wednesday because I wanted to get a chance to play the Zelda Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey.
I saw you're putting the whole thing together.
So I wanted to have those as just something to talk about on there as well, because there's very little in terms of like what Nintendo's done with it, but what Nintendo's doing with it is actually pretty cool. And they're doing the right things early on, as well as they're testing. I don't know if you can make it any better, where people are paying you to buy the cardboard version of something you could make that's actually going to be the more permanent version, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's basically like buying into early access for them right now.
If I had to, I have heard this absolutely nowhere. I have seen this absolutely nowhere.
Yep.
My guess would be Nintendo thought this would be a lot of people, not everyone, and I'm not even going to say most. I would say a lot of Switch owners. This might be their first look into VR.
No,
right?
I definitely can agree with that. I think you're right. I mean,
So it's like, from our standpoint of, it doesn't look as good as a Vive. Okay.
yeah, let's be honest here. $39 versus $799, and you're not even talking about the cost of the PC to run it.
Right.
Obviously, you're not talking about the cost of the Switch, but a 250. What are they? $299 now? 250, $299.
I think they might be a
there.
little cheaper, but yeah.
Plus $39 is a hell of a lot better. But Sony is damn close, because you can get a $199 PS4, and I was able to buy a $119 brand new VR headset from Fred Meyer out here during the holidays. But $199 is the price point. I think they go as low as $199 for a VR headset. So Sony's got a good grasp on like their market. They've got a really good opportunity to make it an amazing thing.
Yeah,
The content's there. It's they've done a good job.
I do like that everybody, I think, is kind of nibbled around of like, I like this feature. I like how you did the headset.
Yeah.
I like how you did the strap. I like how you did this game. I like how you did this control. We're still in this thing of like, if it were up to me, I want everybody looking at all the headsets and stealing the best ideas and making, one. I don't have to have this thing where Sony gets a special click or a special control, or it does this
I agree
or
with
that,
that. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't need that, but let's check out. We've still got some games to go through. Jeez, this is going to be a long show.
As long as I'm home by 9.
Listen, if the console's sitting right here, we could start playing. No, Rage. Let's talk a little bit about Rage. I don't know if you get Rage. everybody's got Rage at some point. And I don't know if they were really happy to play Rage or not at that time. But the Rage game itself is a awesome experience. The book is really cool. I don't know if you ever read the book.
I have not read the book.
I got a chance to read the book. I was really excited about Rage, and I've always been excited. It brought a sleeping bag, exactly. And by the way, can you see chat on yours?
I don't have my number.
Oh, I was going to say, if you throw chat up there, you can see it. You're actually excited about Rage 2? I think so as well. I mean, it's definitely flying under the radar. I agree with you, Baltimore. It is flying under the radar. But the original Rage, I was really excited about it. And I still was. I'm not saying that in the sense that when it came out, I beat it. I was excited about it through the whole way. But I was really excited about it because they were doing, at this time, a similar thing to what Dead Space was doing, where it's like games, we're doing books, we're doing like all this other content around it, just talking about the extended universe. So they did a good job. The book was really cool. It's not super long. Listen, I'm not a scholar in books.
Sure.
I'm not sitting there reading a 1,000-page novel. I'm not the Harry Potter guy. I'm more of like it's 200 pages maybe, right? Good book. Done in digital, you could get it. I think you could even get the paperback. But it was a good read, and it was fun and interesting to lead up to what was going on here, where essentially the world is dealing with an apocalyptic event. You just saw the asteroid crashing, and instead of like leaving the planet, they went further into the planet.
Yep.
So they buried these things called the arcs, and the arcs were filled with like the people and things that were going to make society survivable. So you're waking up at the beginning of the game in a state that you're like, I don't know what just happened. I don't know. It could have been good. Could have been bad. There could be like cherubs outside singing and all this green grass, or there could be a post-apocalyptic war zone.
So unlike Doom, it's a more open environment.
It is an open world game. It's considered that. It's
Vehicles in the game.
Vehicles. It's got essentially very similar like story and depth to like Anthem. I would compare it to in the way that you would go into these towns and you would go around and talk to people, and it's kind of got these RPG elements in a shooter, which it's not an RPG though. Right? It's not a role-playing game necessarily, but it has components of that.
There's more than just guns that shoot.
Systems fully deployed.
And there are some weird effects though. You just might have seen it when you saw me turn really quick.
Location beacon offline.
When Carmack and id built this game, they were building with a brand new tech that was streaming the assets to the screen essentially from within your download or your CD, your DVD, or your Blu-ray. Because it came out on all the consoles too. That tech was still new, and it was doing some weird things when, like, super fast PCs, and at the time, again, to Brooks' point on Doom 3, at the time he was saying, like, in 5 years, this will be amazing because you'll understand why we built it this way, because it'll look great.
I believe, what did they call it? I think the tech was called mega texturing?
Something to that
Something
effect,
like
yeah,
that.
where it streamed it from the disk. It didn't load it into RAM, because there wasn't enough in these systems.
Correct.
So it was streaming it, and in most cases it wasn't noticeable. If you turned quick enough in a new environment that you hadn't been in yet, it would look like you were playing on something that couldn't even handle like low-res textures. It was really strange, and even today on the newer PCs, like my machine is, in comparison to when this game came out, probably like, a calculator to like a supercomputer, kind of idea. But it's still, you still see those effects happen inside the game, but it doesn't take away from the gameplay, and it's very rarely noticeable. Like you can see it here when I'm like spinning around really fast, but it's just if you catch it with the corner of your eye. It's not like it's super noticeable. But the game plays phenomenal. It's got a good story in it. It's got some cool ideas around a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
Right? And there's this really neat like component of it where there's this like TV show that they're broadcasting, and it's like an actual like I don't even know what to call it, gladiators style, but you're dying.
Yeah.
And they had actually made a mobile version of it, which was really amazing too at the time because it was on an iPhone.
That's right.
And it
That's
looked
right.
phenomenal. It
That's
was
right,
running
I
on the same
remember that.
type of idea. Same, I don't know if it's the same engine, but same tech was powering it.
Well, it was very much a John Carmack thing.
It
He was-
definitely was like Borderlands. Yeah.
He was known for this, and this is no different than like if you fast forward to today,
Yeah.
and you go look at and you listen to him talk about Stadia. He's once again doing this like we're gonna do this super advanced thing.
Like you'll never see anything
Right.
like this for 10 years.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's like he's always been very. He is.
Tim Sweeney, you know,
I mean, the
John
guy,
Carmack, they kind of all fall from the
The
same
guy,
tree.
I mean, the guy's brilliant, right? In his free time, he builds rocket ships.
He's edgy, yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like it's no surprise that if it was building a game for iPhone, building a game in VR,
Yeah.
building a game, you know, all this stuff. It was like John Carmack very much doesn't mind sprinting towards a new technology.
Yeah, but I mean, you see like primitive ideas of, you know, light, like ray tracing in this. Like the lighting effects look really good. Like he was on the edge of like,
Yeah.
this thing's going to look phenomenal. You're going to want to play this for a long time. And even today, this is probably 10 years later.
Yep.
Might have came out in 2009, 2008.
Let's see. When did it come out? It came
It
out.
does hold up.
2010. I mean, close enough. But
2010, but I mean, like almost a decade
Decade
later,
ago.
this thing looks good. It looks really good. I enjoyed playing through it. I beat the game, you know, went through the whole thing. I never had a problem with the game. I think it's a good play, and like everybody needs to give it a shot. I mean, it's well worth it. And I will throw up the link right now. Speaking of that, for it.
The only one thing about this game that I would say I was disappointed with was when I got the game and I was like, oh, it's co-op. And then it was like they
weird,
cut
yeah.
these missions out that you could play with your
Yep.
friends for score or something. So,
We've got it for, I think it's $9. Yep, that's it. I'm just throwing that in the chat there. But Baltimore was saying he's going to play it again before Rage 2, which I kind of feel the same way. I mean, given the time and the opportunity, I'd sit there and play it. I would sit there and go through it again on PC.
I don't know that I'll jump into it before Rage 2, but, you know, I was a little sour on Rage 2 for a minute, and then we were talking about this
You
the
start
other
to get a
day,
little bit idea of like what's going on in it. Yeah.
that, like, once I had figured out that it's more or less an open world RPG version of the new game.
Yep.
sounds
Look
like
at
something
what
I could be
Hagar
about.
said.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
For sure.
Dare you think you can
Yeah, I think
walk
this is where
our
pretty much I
house?
came to the end. You're
Take him to
captured
the
for,
kill room.
for a bit of time here. Let's jump over to Dishonored, and then we'll talk about Prey really quick, and then we're gonna play a little bit Evil Within 2.
So, you know, this is Dishonored.
Corvo
This has got
is the
this has got a
hero.
really interesting story of how this came together. This has got some Half-Life artists and
Funny enough.
writers involved.
Yep.
So when you step out here, oh, okay, I guess we're not in the city quite yet.
No, this was much further into the than you're going into the city. This is actually once Corvo had found and been rescued and went to his like base or hub, and this is where he first meets the guy's name that tells him all the powers that he has. What's his name? Starts with an M, maybe. But-
days to come. For this I have chosen you and drawn you into the
Oh
whole.
gosh.
Yeah, Dishonored was a masterpiece. Baltimore.
And this is my mark.
You know, at the point in time,
Forces in the world and
I think-
beyond the world. Great forces
I want to say like
and magic.
35 to 40 friends of mine on Steam have this game.
Use this
Yeah.
newfound power.
This is
Not as many for Dishonored 2, which is still a great game, but Dishonored definitely. Oh, Outsider is his name. Yes, that's the character right there. Thank you, Baltimore. But I think this was such a unique gameplay mechanic and design, and Bethesda did a great job like getting it out there and marketing it, that when I was streaming, this game came out, and like everybody was streaming it. Now that was not an uncommon thing, but everybody was buying it too, which means nobody was getting it gifted to them. This was like
Right.
everybody was buying it.
So there's a couple things that I remember about this game. This was the first game I thought Arcane just nailed.
Oh yeah.
And ever since this game, I believe I have owned every game that Arcane has made.
That they've done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say as well.
I will argue that I like 2 more than 1. The second version
Yeah,
of this
I
game.
think they refined everything in 2. Yeah.
But it's like, it's a really fun take on, it's an open world action stealth game,
Yep.
and then inside of the game, it's got this concept of chaos.
Yes.
That I don't want to call it good, bad, I want to call it chaos and not.
Yes.
But I had a blast playing this game.
Yeah.
I actually played this game again, because when I bought 2, you might remember this, you got the HD remake of 1.
Yes. I do remember they were
Yeah.
doing a deal. Baltimore had asked if we had played it. We both played 2. I've never beat 2.
I've beaten 2 twice, because I've played
Okay.
both Corvo and
And
Side.
the
Yeah.
other one. So it's well worth playing. Baltimore, when I was doing it, I think it was a streaming thing. I think that I was trying to stream it, and I did that mixture of like, sometimes I was doing 1,000 games, trying to be like this crazy like variety streamer, but then I was trying to do the indie stuff.
The
and
commentary
shit like that.
thing, was it an indie thing?
Yeah,
Variety
it
thing?
kind of got into a lot of like, I was playing a lot of games like really fast, and fortunately they were being given to me at that point in time. But yeah, it was just cranking through stuff, and I never finished the game. I liked the game. I really liked 1, so I know that there was a huge benefit to playing 2 because you got like all the good stuff, and you got a chance to even get the HD remaster of this.
Yeah, it's... We talked about
1,000 game challenge. Yeah.
We talked about this at the beginning of the show,
What a
of like,
nightmare.
the cast today, or the stream today, wasn't... We didn't pick these games because they were the end of the barrel, like Prey and Dishonored.
Oh no,
Or-
nothing's in an order, and if we missed out on anything, we're gonna play like we were talking about it before the show started. We didn't put the new Doom in here. We did not put Evil Within 1 in here.
Nope.
The first one. And we didn't put Dishonored 2 in here. And we'll probably end up playing those on future streams
Yeah.
because they are great games, and all of them are. Bethesda's done a really good job with their stable of content.
Yeah, this was probably in 2016 when this came out. This was probably one of my favorite games that came out that year.
Yeah.
I'm really big on anytime you get to play around with stealth in a game.
Yep.
Just Days Gone tonight. There we go again with stealth. Like, I'm a super big fan of
Yeah, stealth mechanics.
of kind of the like
pretty hot.
You hunt around, you kind of pray, you set the traps, you do some stalking. It's really fun. This is a really good game.
Oh, he's got the heart now. So you remember the heart? You hold it up and you find different things throughout the environment. There's a lot of like hidden notes, messages, everything. And I think really you want to have the heart out because you're finding the chaos as well to help upgrade Corvo. Like his skill tree.
Yeah.
The more you find of these, the more the skill tree you can expand. Yeah, the DLCs are good, really, as well. I played through the DLCs too on the first one at least, and they were pretty nice. And the multi-pass you can take, etc. Yeah,
I've played all of
it had a lot of good things.
I've played all of the content in these games with the exception of I've never played the standalone DLC called Death of an Outsider, which I believe where you play as the woman who runs the boat.
Yes.
In the second one.
Yeah.
I have not played that piece of content.
Oh, you haven't? Okay, that's interesting. I never had a chance to play it either. On the second game.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Because you get to meet her on the DLC from the first game. Is that correct?
I thought you met her at the... Ooh, no, maybe you're right.
I think that's how you come
Okay.
into contact with her. Yeah. because I've gone through the DLC, because she takes you to, God, it's so long ago. She takes you to an area, and then you're doing that for the deal.
You're right. You meet her in 1 and she returns to 2. You're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Dishonored. There's the skill tree it's talking about there. But let's jump into Prey, which you beat Prey.
I just recently,
Yeah.
at the end, as we were winding down last year,
Yep.
I had gone through, and I had bought and Prey like a couple weeks after it came out.
Yeah, I think we were all on that. We were buying it. I bought it on disc,
Yeah,
and you bought it digitally.
and I bought it digitally, and for whatever reason,
Billy Lurk. That's the character that you
yes,
meet. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
correct.
Thank you.
And
Thanks, Paul.
I had sat on this game for a while.
Yep.
And initially, because I had played the previous Prey, which was significantly different.
Yeah.
Where you played with you had the soul and you were bouncing around the environments and shooting upside down.
Yep.
And then someone was like,
God. Yeah, I remember.
Right.
I like the original Prey.
and because this is actually, if you really want to get into it, I think this is technically the 3rd iteration because there's that second Prey that never came out.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's funny. The original Prey was based on Native American character.
Yep. Mhm.
That was, essentially hanging out at a bar and like all sorts of crazy stuff went on and like aliens attacked. The second Prey, Bethesda showed off at, I don't know if they had it at E3, but I know they showed it off at PAX 11 or something like that. It was
Okay.
crazy. Why? It was weird because I remembered that it was at PAX and I didn't see it at E3
Because
the same year.
This is when Human Head Studios
Yes.
was making the game.
Yes,
Right.
and it wasn't Bethesda's yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So it must have been those guys were showing it at they had a booth.
Mm-hmm.
And they were showing the video and all this, no gameplay, but it was like you were some cyberpunk bounty hunter.
And it took place in, it was same time as the first game, but what do they call it when it's like a it takes place at the same time.
Yeah.
So you see I can't remember the Indian guy's name you play as in the first game, but it's like, it's a parallel story.
Yes.
That's the term I'm
Yeah.
coming to think of, right? And so, as you're playing the second game, which never even came out, I think there's like a couple of videos and some.
You can find videos on. You can find the video I saw at PAX. I know on the YouTube.
Because there was even times when I was buying games and you would open the games up and the pamphlet was for Prey
Yes.
2.
Yes.
This was a legit thing that was almost done.
Yeah, they were damn close to finishing it, and then they took it in a completely different direction.
Yeah. So then,
Which, again, not a bad thing. Bethesda turned something out that, like, I think a lot of people were doubting it was going to be good, but it ended up being, like, really good, like BioShock good.
yeah, and that's the thing that somebody, I don't even remember who it was. We were all in chat one night, and I was going through some crisis. I needed a game to play because I was feeling bored, and I was like, I have this Prey game, and someone,
that sounds about right. Baltimore was 2012 is when they talked
and
about
somebody
it.
told me they were
Oh,
like,
you found the trailer. You found it.
nice,
It
yeah.
was sweet, dude. Thank you.
And somebody had told me, they were like, oh, you haven't played it. I figured like you were all about it. I'm like, why is that? And they're like, well, it's BioShock, but in space. And I'm like, what? That information didn't cross my radar.
Yeah.
It's a sweet game.
Yeah.
It's a really sweet game.
good
I played this.
Let's take a look at it while we're talking about it.
I played this about, let's see, we're April, probably 7 months ago.
Yeah.
But it's very much
You played it before they actually did the Moon Crash DLC. And
Right
the
before.
Yeah,
Yep.
just right before. I remember that.
game looks great. It's really fun because you can complete everything in the game in various ways, right?
Yeah, it's not like it's got branching paths,
Uh-huh.
right? You can do things differently.
Yep.
You can do things a different way if you don't want to do it the same way.
You can do things in different orders.
Oh, they just got me.
There's multiple endings. The powers you start getting are really fun.
Yeah.
About midway through the game, you start getting some cool stuff.
Yeah, and funny enough, we were talking about BioShock in the comparison. it actually has. You can notice he's holding and handling a wrench,
Yep.
which harkens back to the original Bioshock.
Yeah, would you kindly give me the wrench?
Yeah, exactly. It's Baltimore saying he did actually beat Prey this one, so he said it's really good too. Yep.
I want to ask him which ending he got, but I'm fearful of spoiling for everyone else watching.
Yeah,
So-
kind of hold off on the spoiling.
The way that they did the endings of this was great.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point we'll do a cast where we talk about some of our favorite endings. The ending of this game is
He said it
choice.
shocked him.
The ending is
Where?
choice.
Yeah. There's also a VR component to this
Yes,
now.
there is.
If you buy the Moon Crash DLC, you get to play a survivor of what's going on in this incident, because these little black things are called the mimics that are running around.
Yeah.
And they're in the VR component. It's not like you're running around shooting anything. You're actually solving puzzles of a survivor of the event. that
Yeah,
these
so
things
because
come out.
isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. The way that it works is you buy Moon Crash and you get Typhoon Hunter,
Typhoon
which is the
Hunter,
V,
which
which
is
is
the
the VR
VR.
piece.
Yep. So Moon Crash is the DLC for the base game, or the actual standard game.
And then after this came out, they the developer spent a lot of time. They're actively made new content for the game,
Yep.
released new episodes. There were some updates. There was some free stuff. There was some hey, you get a bonus if you buy the Moon Crash thing, right? So
Yeah, they did a good job supporting it, and still, I don't know if they'll continue to support it at this point. They're probably like, we could probably make another one.
right.
But they did a good job supporting it, and I think Bethesda gets behind their product with them, and really doesn't just let them stop or not allow them to kind of make the game they want to make. Right, they kind of went a little bit further. This, just dropping it into chat again, this is Prey. We also have Moon Crash. We also have the Deluxe Edition, too. So, lots of options, and yeah, those are live right now. So, not to shortchange Prey, but so we don't run into multiple hours of this Beyond 2, let's jump over to our main game we were going to talk about, which is Evil Within 2.
Yep.
Which I come from a standpoint in this game, and I'm not sure, Baltimore, where you stand, or Brooks, where you stand on this, or anybody else watching. I beat the original one in one sitting.
Correct.
Went through, did it live on stream for my old channel, and enjoyed that game. Felt a little bit like I signed up for one game going into it, but then by the time that I played through the game, I'm like, oh, this is totally different idea.
Okay.
This game threw me off because Evil Within 2, I wasn't really quite sure. Let's throw that up on screen so Brooks can start. I really wasn't sure what to expect from it. If it was going to be like the last one, if it was going to be kind of like this. It's not really Resident Evil, but it's got a feel of Resident Evil. I think they actually made the second one, and it kind of built the game on its own. It decided its own destiny in how they were going to take this franchise.
Yeah. So
They're doing different things.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. The first game, Evil Within, was Shinji Mikami, who had Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4.
Yep.
This
Also, where he came from. Do you know where he did well before Resident Evil? Funny enough.
I have to pull up the Wikipedia. You might tell me, and I might know this off the top of my head, but
Capcom was really into cartoon platformers,
okay.
right? He was the guy working on all that before he was brought over.
Interesting. And then he made Resident Evil. What a pivot that was.
Yeah.
And
I think it was DuckTales. Was one of his big games.
I've heard this before somewhere. Yeah. Somewhere there, some time ago, there was some
Let me
sort
see
of.
if I can pull that up. I think Shinji Mikami was the lead producer on DuckTales.
And it's interesting. Evil Within 1, Mikami had made a studio called Tango Gameworks.
Mm-hmm.
Between Game 1 and Game 2, Bethesda had bought Tango Gameworks. So while he's not the director of this game, they took the spirit of Evil Within 1, which was a survival horror game, and made something I find quite unique, which is an open world survival horror game.
Sorry, no. Let's see. Not DuckTales. Sorry. I don't know why I was stuck with DuckTales in my head. It was actually Aladdin, Goof Troop, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay.
I'm looking through and seeing anything. F1 Racing. That was never released. But yeah, he was involved with those. And he basically jumped from Goof Troop to Resident Evil.
Solid. Absolutely solid.
Yeah, kind of funny.
So what I've actually done here for us tonight, not to tangent away.
Yeah, kind of tell us where we're at, because I don't know if everybody knows, but Brooks has went through the entire game.
So to do something a little bit different, we usually try to show off
That is a hell of a jump.
We usually show off the first part of a game. We wanted to show off a little more. So what we're actually doing is we're starting on New Game Plus. So from a story perspective, there's not a tremendous amount of spoilers here, but it kind of shows you, we're going to show off some of the different uniqueness to this game. I think this game is excellent.
Yeah.
This game, I think, is better than a lot of people give this credit for. I had a ton of fun playing this.
Evil Within 2 is a little bit different, and I think we both agree it is much better than Evil Within 1. Purely for the fact where it's not open world, but it is. In a way, you can decide what you want to do first. You can go to this part of the map. You can go that. There's still a lot of boundaries. It's not like Red Dead Redemption, the open world, but you have kind of the choices of where you want to walk into or what you want to look at.
Definitely.
I guess open-ended. I don't know if open-ended is even a name. But you do get a lot of upgrades. You get a chance to do a lot of cool missions for the game itself. Like the way it sends you out, the way you can take on challenges.
After having played this game, I have this fantasy that Last of Us 2 is going to be an open-world survival horror game.
Yeah.
We'll see if we get there.
That would be interesting. That would be really interesting. Is that your phone or is that the game?
That's the controller.
Oh, the controller's making the noise.
Yeah.
We can't play with audio on because we don't have headphones. We were sitting there talking about this earlier. So we're not hearing the audio, and you're probably not either because I don't have it up. Now we do. There we go. Turn the other one.
So let's see. What are we working with here? So one of my favorite parts about this game is as you're kind of stealthing around, initially in this kind of first area, which is a significant, I mean, this is a decent starting area. The quest it's got us sent on is to go track down this signal from this girl's voice that you're looking for.
Yep.
We're deviating a little bit.
So this guy, let's talk about this. This is the first guy from the original. This is the
Sebastian
from the
Castellanos.
original game.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
His daughter is who he's after.
Has been hooked up into the STEM system. Yep. And forgive me, my playing might not be perfect because I'm doing this without headphones tonight. So
yeah, you might not be able to hear something going on around you. But you are kind of loaded down with an arsenal.
Yeah.
So a surprise probably isn't going to take you out too much. He gets a lot of cool things. What is that? A medical syringe. That was in the first one.
Yep.
You had those. You were collecting brain juice, green gel.
You have green gel and red gel.
And red gel this time. How festive.
Yep. The
holidays.
the upgrading in this game was one of the, I don't want to say one of the complaints, one of the requests from fans of the first game.
Sure.
Was we want to really mod. So not only can you mod the guns and change the guns and build the guns, but you have a whole skill tree to jump into for your character.
Yeah, and the
itself.
skill tree was pretty decent on the
yeah.
first one, but I think they really went a little bit more down the road with it, along with the guns and everything too.
Yep.
So, again, we have both. Either one is a great gaming experience. Now, I think going into number one believing it's the next Resident Evil is the wrong way to look at it. Evil Within is its own game.
Definitely. Yeah.
And Evil Within 2 is truly its own game.
Definitely.
So I'm going to put the link into chat for Evil Within 2, if anybody's interested. Just so you know. And it plays well on both PS4, Xbox. I think it was on Xbox. Yes.
Yep,
Xbox One. And on PC.
The only reason
I have it on PC.
The only reason we're not playing on PC is purely
I'm
so
not
we
as
could start
far,
the
yeah.
new Game Plus tonight.
Yeah, I have it on PC, but I'm not anywhere near as far. I never beat the game. Again, whatever reason. It definitely deserves being played and finished. Now, what is the STEM? So you're in kind of like a virtual reality.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Not necessarily that exactly.
And I don't want to overshare because it's very story specific what this machine is and does. But they are trying to harness the human mind for ulterior purposes.
And that's what...
And things don't exactly go as planned as you might imagine.
And that's about all we'll say on it.
But yeah, so you take place inside of a... This is all happening inside of his head.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's almost got like... It's almost got a little bit of like Silent Hill vibe to it.
Yes.
Because in Silent Hill, if anybody remembers that, if not, we blame Konami. But if you do remember it, it's essentially like there are just streets that end, and there's like a bridge to nowhere kind of thing, and all that type of stuff. And essentially, you see similar things in this game.
Yep.
Not that they're copying it, but just you see some things. So you just set that off, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Blame Konami's if you don't remember Silent Hill. Luckily, they haven't taken it down, so you can still find it, I believe. I love Silent Hill. One of my favorite franchises. I wish that they would sell it off to somebody or come out and make some new ones. We had Silent Hill for about a day. We had Silent Hill 4. I think
These dudes
5.
just got dusted, so that was that.
Something happened and Konami said, nope, we're not distributing it any longer that way. That's what I was afraid of, yeah. Even on Steam, they have Silent Hill Homecoming, and that's it. Available to download.
You know, we didn't really touch on this as we were talking about it. The accident that was Konami decided to get out of the Metal Gear business for whatever reason.
Yep.
And let Kojima go. I'll always be saddened by. I'm a super big Metal Gear fan. And then that turned into the accident that was supposed to be Silent Hills, right?
Yep.
And I always wonder why Microsoft didn't come in. And Kojima was functionally, we'll call it a gaming free agent.
Yeah.
Right? Was looking for...
Yeah, essentially that's what he ended up being.
It blows my mind that they didn't... Everybody had to have been rushing to his front door with a check. Right?
I would probably say, like, if you had his swagger in the industry, yeah, people would be throwing money at you to build some game.
And, I'll look forward to whatever Death Stranding ends up.
And whatever you want to build, you just take the money and run and build it.
And I'll look forward to whatever his next Death Stranding game, what that actually looks like. But part of me is a little sad that, like, I think him and Del Toro could have made a really cool Silent Hills game.
Oh man, I wanted to see
so cool.
PT. I wanted to see PT be a real thing. There was that rumor where at one point, what is going on over here? Sorry, folks. We've always got some kind of machine wanting to talk. I don't know. Maybe it's off. That was some kind of mailing weigh scale. I don't know. Yeah, there was that rumor that Microsoft had actually acquired PT. And it was like, oh, it sounds like it's too good to be true, but it sounds like it should go through. It makes good business sense from their end. Yeah, it didn't turn out to be true, which was a shame.
Yeah,
There's been some of that. Surprisingly, not everybody on the internet tells the truth.
shocking.
It kind of sucked that it wasn't true, though.
Oh, I wanted that to be true so bad.
Oh, yeah. So you've even got like all the different rockets, the fire, everything
we brought
the
everything to the table tonight.
Everything for the crossbow. Crossbow is nice because you can do a lot of like long distance kills stealthily.
It's also a silent weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really good compared to constantly using guns.
Yeah.
Where'd he go?
What is that telling you when you're? I don't know because I played on PC. What's that telling you when it's making that noise and like changing colors? Something sees you.
I believe so. See under the orange meter in the top left corner
Yep.
of the screen. I believe that's my health telling me I need to heal.
Ah, gotcha.
And then if I pull out the where are you going, bud?
This is the main hub, right? Kind of the main town.
This is the first world.
Yeah. Get your green jelly.
Didn't like it one bit, did you?
A little bit of brain juice. Oh, that's the communication letting you know something's close by.
Because then there's the...
Gotcha.
Where's my walkie-talkie piece? This thing. So here's the actual quest run, which is pointing...
Right,
me
and
to
that
go
kind of
over
gives you
there.
your director. Like, hey, lock on this way, head that way.
I was kind of deviating from the quest.
Yeah,
so.
do what you want. Are you doing anything specific tonight, Baltimore? You gonna play Days Gone? Oops! Oh, I made that probably a noise. Meant to grab the mouse. I'm looking forward to Days Gone tomorrow. I'm getting it on disc, so I won't be able to play it until tomorrow evening.
I can't wait to play tonight.
Yeah, you're going to be jumping on here shortly. I saw Dakota Shea, Sarah. She picked it up.
She picked it up.
Yeah.
With survival mechanics in it.
I'm wondering if Scott picked it up.
He did. I talked to him.
He did. Okay. Oh, you don't own a PS4? I thought you had a PS4. Your PC only just like I was for a long time, and then I went with PS4.
You know, I've got both. It's become a thing where
You'll be grinding Destiny 2. Hey, if you grind enough, you might be able to get a job over at Destiny.
so
There's the article out there. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but they're hiring like PvP players.
yeah, that was kind of interesting. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
So
He said he heard.
it was front page of Reddit material today, no doubt.
Yeah, no, it's one of the news articles. Destiny 2, man. Dude, it's still a good game. I like Destiny.
Oh, I'm a super big fan.
Yeah, I don't play anywhere near like what I used to, and I know you played like 10 times more than what I
And
used to.
even that, we've been so busy with stuff here,
Yeah.
and just with Anthem and Division and Metro and DMC and Days Gone and Sekiro, it's just like I currently don't really have time to really invest
Sure.
in just one game.
Sure.
So
I could see that. Did you ever pick up Division 2 Baltimore? I like Division. I just have not had time to play it. That's man, I was on a kick too. I was like, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get to level 30. You're on the beta, but you haven't picked it up. Gotcha. I didn't pick it up on PC either.
but
I picked it up on PS4.
I'm sorry, that's the tangent I was even going off of. That
No, go ahead.
when we sometimes like we play PS4 games, just the volume of people we know that like everybody.
Yeah.
If we're gonna play a
Leads us
Division,
into it, yeah.
or for better or worse, if we're gonna get a game like Anthem where or Fallout, it was easier that everyone we know
Yep.
has got a PlayStation.
That's for sure. It does help that way. Yeah, not enough time. I know what you're saying. You can't really handle adding another one to your list. Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing every time a new game comes out. I try to be good and not like buy everything because it'd be broke. And you got to pay bills kind of thing. But like I made the conscious decision like, okay, I'm going to buy 2 games this week, but I won't be buying anything more for a while.
Right.
And I bought Mortal Kombat 11 and I bought Days Gone. And hopefully not really going to be in the market for a new game until probably late summer, I think.
Dude, I'm so full right now.
Yeah. Oh, you gave up World of Warcraft and Destiny took its place.
Hey, you know what?
That's a good idea. Just replace one with another. But at least you got like one you can concentrate on and play. I like that. Unfortunately, we play a lot of games to do the show because we do 2 shows a week. I think we talked about that last week to you, but we do the one on Facebook, which is kind of focused on casual, which, we get plenty of those games. Like our service has its fair share of like casual games.
Mm-hmm.
So Brooks ends up probably playing those games part of the week, and then I'll play part of the Thursday show's games, and then we'll end up kind of just randomly playing the same games anyhow because we're trying to get like an idea of how they play if we don't know and blah blah blah. So we end up playing a lot of games other than what we actually play at home.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And no, the game is not this easy. Normally when you start, you're not just slugging your way through. I just have a tremendous amount of ammo.
Yeah, and when you've got it built up, it's not as bad. It's like Resident Evil games in that way of like when you do
But
new
very,
games.
very early on in this area, in your first play, I was trying to go out a little more and show more than just knife combat or whatnot, but there's a lot of like stealthing, and you get like 4 bullets and 1 grenade, and here we go.
Baltimore saying he doesn't mind playing single player games like this, but when you get to games like WoW and Destiny, there's now Destiny's adding stuff every week, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yep. So they're treating it more like an MMO, funny enough, like WoW, in that sense of like giving you new stuff a week to do, and that's kind of cool. I mean, it takes your time to dedicate to be able to play with mainly other people you play with on those games.
Yeah.
Right? They keep you playing. As well as the content, but
I'm
your desire to be able to play with them is a big factor.
I don't have the time that I once had to really to really go at WoW or Rift or Terra or Star Wars Online or KOTOR or whatever I was playing at the time. But I do think those, for people that like that style of investment game, I do think that's why games like Division and Destiny and Anthem and we talked about this a little bit. Borderlands not quite a game as a service, but all of those games share a very fundamental. I'm investing my time. I'm building my guns. I'm building my armor sets. Right, and if you have 2 hours to play, you can enjoy that. And if you have 10, you can enjoy that. Or if you've got 100, you can really go for some of that, some of the elite kind of chase stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, Baltimore saying he was lucky he got into a decent clan, and they can raid every week now.
Nice. Yeah.
Which Brooks did that as well. Like he had probably 30 people that you guys knew, like
Collective,
friends.
sure, yeah, collectively. That's
like it wasn't like these are random people in a clan. This was like these guys basically all knew each other
yeah,
and would like be really dedicated,
yep,
like to where it was a second job.
yeah. That's kind of once you
Not to bring up the painful memories.
nothing to do with
Yeah, it definitely helps. I mean, because you guys were crushing content like with it, maybe not like world record setters kind of thing, right? You weren't doing like, oh, we are first to like to take down the raid like the
weren't
streaming
first,
teams
but we
were.
were doing stuff
but
within
within
the
the
first day
same
or two.
same
Yeah.
day or two, yeah.
Yeah, we had fun.
Yeah, Brooks having flashbacks now. He did a lot of that. You played a lot of that game.
Oh, that style of play, it even predated that
Yeah.
game. That came from like, we were putting 45 hours a week into, Nax. Or 45 hours a week into Blackwing Lair or whatever, on top of like working. So
Yeah, no, you'd be in and then you'd go right back to home and you guys would start up and it was a couple, like one or two guys from the office and, it was every night.
we would talk about it that night.
It was nonstop, yeah.
And then we would go to the office and we would talk about the night before.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it was interesting to see it done through somebody that had the time to put into it and like be at the top of like, teams that were playing at the time or clans that were playing at the time. And I mean, I saw you do it on Rift when we were far younger before we worked here. I mean, you were probably one of the top people in the country for
That Bard was ridiculous.
the Bard control, of like
even
the trading system. So yeah, gaming can take a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're willing to give the time.
Oh, I mean, some of those games are designed with.
That's a good point. Baltimore's saying the same thing. It's like all consuming if it gets away and you're not careful.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, and the games they've got, so much content in them these days that it's just.
Yeah. To his point, like you really can only handle one of those at a time, because to dedicate to be able to get good enough to play with people that want to play in a clan and expect you to be on time and not be damned.
Sure.
And kind of thing. It's always a commitment.
It's I look back on it and I had a good time. It's fun to push against the progression. It's also something that I do think this happened with MMOs where I got burned out, and then even with the service stuff, like I've been on the burned out side, so I think that's kind of why this year I haven't really gone in and sat there and played just one game all year.
Right.
There's also been a ton of good games.
Yeah, I know. There was a
so
big
that
run on
probably
this.
helps.
Baltimore was saying, ask you if you've ever found the giant crow in this area.
In Evil Within 2?
I think that's what he's asking, yeah.
Giant crow. It's been a minute since I'd actually gone through. I played this game. What did I play? I played this on launch, right?
It's an Easter egg, he's saying.
So, that doesn't sound familiar.
Okay, no, he doesn't believe it. Yeah, and he's saying it, yeah, could have been a while, but yeah, sometimes we,
Those things are driving corpses.
we do run into scenarios where we play so many games that I forget a lot of stuff in them too. I was having a hard time trying to remember that Corvo thing.
Right.
Like where we were talking about. The link. I don't know why. I think we have links blocked. Hold on a second. Let's do this. Oh my god, it's been so long. How do I let it to where I can see it? I think I'm going to do this, Baltimore. Can you then allow yourself to drop the link in? It's been a long time since I ran like chat as a as a real project on Twitch. Oh, there you go. Perfect.
See if I can
Thank
get
you, man.
these guys without alerting them.
I'm going to look this up. I want to see what you're talking about. Let's see, where's this thing at? I don't even know if I've ever seen these areas. Oh, wow, damn. That is funny. Yeah, that is pretty neat. Yeah, thanks for sending that. I'll show Brooks here after he's done. We got our people heading home finally. A lot of people have been here late tonight. It's 8 o'clock. Oh, I see this. Yeah, no, that's funny. Oh. Oh, I see why. Okay, I'm not going to ruin it for people. But, no, that is pretty cool, and there's actually a good reason to have him appear. So we got our first mod of the channel. If Baltimore wants to keep it, you're more than welcome to, man. You can help us out, because I was sitting there like, I can't even remember how to let somebody put a link in. It's been so long. Yeah, man, you do. Well, you've been on Twitch for quite some time. Oh, cool. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. I'm glad that you appreciate it and will help out. You're not obligated, though, but if you're in chat, we'd appreciate anybody that's trying to post a link. You help us. But yeah, you've been here a few years. I was on there. I started using Twitch in 2013. And that's when I was streaming like 3 hours a night, 365 days a year. Essentially like mimicking your Destiny battles. Yeah. And yeah, no, it was, I remember Baltimore coming around. I remember everybody else. And man, I used to have it down pat, and there was always problems. But, you know, like we've said on here, there's always a problem on the stream.
It's always something.
But, and that's continuous. It doesn't change. But yeah, no, it was ridiculous. Like how much I knew about Twitch, and then I kind of like just lost it. Like, mind is gone. Funny enough, where is this hidden then? Huh. I'm gonna have to talk to you guys about this afterwards, but I was trying to find this Mortal Kombat thing. I do have it. Huh. Wish you knew about Justin TV back in the... Oh, you started around, the same time, like 2013. Yeah, it was kind of funny. I knew about Justin TV, but at that time, it was just Justin. Mm-hmm. And it was just him, like, videoing his life. And I'm like, who the hell wants to watch that? Obviously, I was wrong. But, I'm not really wrong in that sense, because I had a chance to talk to a couple people that ran Twitch later on as we were talking to them about various things from a company standpoint. And Brooke Van Dussen, I think that's how you say his name, was the BD guy, and he and I knew each other, and we'd talk. And he worked for Justin TV before Twitch was ever created. So he was one of the guys that probably made some money in this. If hopefully Justin, I think he did. He gave money out to people, like gave them shares and stock and all that stuff.
Right.
In ownership. But he said, like, Justin TV was like a group of people by the time it had started, and it ended up being like 100 employees, let's say this.
Okay.
When they came up with Twitch, it was like 6 employees on Twitch, 94 or whatever the number was on Justin TV, and within less than like a few months, it was like 100 employees on Twitch and like 1 employee shutting down Justin TV.
It was a curious thing, the way that whole platform got not sliced. I don't know if sliced off is the term, but took that. Twitch became games, and then it almost Twitch turned back into Justin TV when all was said and done, right?
Yeah.
Because Twitch was about games
initially,
and then it started adding just the lifestyle stuff, the cooking stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Are these lilies?
Yeah, no, that's funny. Oh, you also mod for... Who do you mod for then, Baltimore? Who's the other person? He said he mods for somebody that was like one of the first 50 people to be partnered on... Oh, Craig G. Oh, yeah, no. Craig Gasm or whatever, right? That's cool. That's really cool, man. Craig Gasm. Yep. That's the guy. I know him. I don't know him, but I know his, like... He's a very well-known, like, emoticon on there, or whatever you want to call it. Twitch emote. Twitch emote. That's what it is. An emote.
How do I get in there?
Sitting here looking something up.
Lily's doll. She's been here.
Oh, no, I haven't seen this. Okay, you're actually way further at this point.
Yeah, and I'm probably not gonna play
much further
past this for story purposes, but this is kind of one of the first story pieces you're dealing with.
Oh my god, she's in trouble.
She's in trouble. You don't say.
I should check out around back. Comes out.
At this point now, where you're at, did you start like pretty close to the beginning? So you've met the one gentleman that's in the game like right away.
This is what I guess I'll consider this chapter 3. This is the first real gameplay chapter.
Gotcha.
The first 2 chapters of this have you walking through a very linear story section. I started here because this is the first open area piece.
Yeah.
Where you can really run around and do things in whatever order you would like.
Gotcha. Good looking game. Oh, can you throw it into first person? Is that possible to do?
Yeah.
So this is something I think that they added in later. Like this was an update. Mm-hmm. It wasn't in the original game, and I kept telling Brooks, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to play this VR version, and he's like, no, it's not VR. It's actually just first person. You're playing in first person. I'm like, ah.
And this is interesting. I've seen this before. I guess at some point either they added or I had done something to earn some like in-game cheats. You can kind of just be like, I never done.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so this is okay. So you see the hands. Okay.
Yeah, this was a popular thing.
Now, like, if you look down, do you see your feet? No. Okay, it's just the camera, then.
You do see a shadow, though.
Yeah, you see it, but it's not like they throw it into, like, the Fallout. Kind of like you see your legs moving or whatever it is.
Yeah, and, I'll tell you, when I flipped this back on, I checked out first-person mode, and there's one reason I didn't care for it. Mm-hmm. And it's that so much of this game is in stealth that when you go into first person, I'm hidden, I'm not hidden. I'm hidden.
No real indicator. I see your point.
And it's kind of like...
No real indication.
So if you go back here, and it's like, I can very much tell I'm behind something now. Sure. But this...
I get your point. Like, there should have been, remember, like, what was it, Splinter Cell?
Yeah.
Had that indicator on his back, like when he was hidden it was green, when he wasn't it was like there was no color or something like that. I forget what it was, or red. Or they've had that in other games. It's not just Splinter Cell, but
Yeah, and it's like they've even got, you'll notice in the top left corner, they have this little icon, but it's just...
oh, I see it now, just appearing. It's right next to your life or whatever. I didn't see it the first time. I guess that's when you're hidden. Or you're ducking behind.
Yeah, when you're supposed to be hidden, but
When
it's
you're
just...
even hidden.
When I was playing, I did a tremendous amount of, like, you know, I got a little liberal with the ammo here, but I played very, very heavy stealth.
So, I don't know if this was right after, but Baltimore was saying, where are we at? Are we in the same world? The same experience? Like inside his mind still? Or is this outside of that now and he's running around?
This is like you're inside of STEM.
He is.
Still.
Okay, still in there, but a different part of the city that you were in when you started.
Yes.
Gotcha. And it's really like another area that's wide open. It's not like you walked straight there.
The closest comparison I can make to it is it reminds me of how Grand Theft Auto works. Where even though the whole world is open, you get to a point where you very clearly have to complete a linear narrative objective.
To open another area
Yeah.
up. Gotcha. Okay. Understood. It's like, yeah, no, that's true. The ending of the first game did have you guessing. Kind of was it over or not. I remember that part of it.
Buckle up.
Sure.
So
More of the same. You think this is a good spot to kind of call it?
yeah, I think we've got some decent plan.
Yeah.
We showed off some different guns. I'm a big fan. I can't recommend enough.
Yeah. No, this is a great game.
Let's
I
see
think
what
I
el-
threw the game in chat. Didn't I? Let me make sure.
Here's O'Neill to
Yes, I
not
did.
be doing anything. Thanks.
Yep. O'Neill reminds me a little bit of Otacon from Metal Gear,
Sure.
right? Yeah, I think we're going to call it here. Appreciate you, Brooks, for bringing in your actual PS4 so we could play a little bit more on a New Game Plus scenario, not just the actual beginning of the game. It's interesting to see, for sure. I like the game. I think it's cool. I think it's got a lot of potential to continue as a franchise for Bethesda,
Yeah.
for sure. And I especially like that it is far more like survival, stealth kind of thing. You know, the
definitely.
first one, very cool when you see it and you get a chance to play it. But it's not a Resident Evil game. And I think people went into it thinking it was, and you know, they were a little bit off-put by the way it plays, but it's still a good game.
Right.
This one has more of it builds its own world and a way to play, and like it's unique in that sense.
Yep.
So, very cool. Yeah, it's been a longer show. We went more than 2 hours, but there's a lot to cover in Bethesda's catalog. Their stable is deep. We had already done 3 other shows on all the other franchises they have, so we are calling it good. Thank you, Baltimore. Thank you for your kind words there. Appreciate you stopping in. Everybody else that stopped in to watch. We're glad to have people just show up and talk about games and the industry in general. We usually spend the first half of the show, if not a little bit less, talking about game industry news. So if that's what you're interested in, stop in early. If you're interested in seeing games, stop in a little bit later into the show. That's how that works. Or watch the whole thing. It's up to you. But definitely, if you haven't subscribed or liked, or click the notification bell on YouTube, or made sure your notifications were set up for us on Twitch, do that. That way you know when we go live. But we go live every Thursday.
Yep.
And we do that at 6 p.m., and that's like clockwork on the Pacific time. Well, a broken clock. Sometimes it's like 6:05. But then we did a kind of like a new stream that we just tried out this week, where we played Mortal Kombat 11 the day of launch. So that was like at noon. So that's kind of why you'd want to click those notifications, because we might do more of those for newer games. Funny enough, we had Imperator Rome come out today from Paradox, we didn't even have a chance to get to it because we got so many things. So we're gonna have to figure out a day just to talk and play that game, and maybe give one away. Who knows? We have chance. We have a lot of games, so we try to spread them around on Facebook. We were doing a bunch of giveaways, but we want to start doing that here and getting people excited about new games that are coming out. So definitely check back. If we don't talk to you by the end of the week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. And again, thank you, Baltimore Actual, for helping mod and joining on with us and sitting here and chatting about Evil Within and all things Bethesda. Have a great weekend, folks.
Take it easy.
We will see you next time.